almost exactly 1 year from now, the world is going to observe the 200th anniversary of maybe the most famous battle of all time, the Battle of Waterloo.
And like all good robots, it must be destroyed in the end.
It was the final battle of the French Revolutionary Era and the end of Emperor Napoleon's last bid to control Europe.
You're on camera.
What is not so well known is that the fight probably came down to a single mere skirmish that took place at the beginning of the fight on the very right end of the British line, an old stone farm long known as Huguenot. Both sides realized early in the fight that the site was important as a potential fort, sort of a fort, to control one side of the fight and use that as a place to strike from to control the center of the battle.
There's me, I'm cool too.
By 12:30 in the afternoon, fighting from both sides resulted in a French attack that broke into the courtyard of the farm through the now famous North Gate. If the French had retained possession of the farm and that courtyard, they could have used that position to move from a place of strength, attack the British right wing, perhaps fold up that line, collapse their line, and would have endangered perhaps the whole fight for the British. This is a battle of 200,000. So as the French moved some soldiers into that courtyard, it looked very grim until a mere handful of British soldiers, who happened to be close to the moment, led by none other than Corporal James Graham, led on their own initiative, led an impossible, some say miraculous counterattack into that courtyard. A courtyard with 30 British soldiers in it, 30 French soldiers already in it, and an army moving quickly to the gate to try and secure the place. James Graham and his less than a dozen soldiers fought a wild melee across that courtyard, hand to hand, outnumbered at least 2 or 3 to 1, and succeeded in getting to the gates, fighting the French back, and then in a supreme effort, James Graham pushed the gates shut in the face of the French army and slaughtered the marketplace place himself.
This is the reardon theater. We are proud to present the Wanderer.
The rest of the day, both sides struggled to control that farm, and the fight got more intense. The British committed 3,000 soldiers to hold that farm. The French committed 14,000 men to take that farm. The fight went on and on, but the courtyard was never lost once the gate was shut. When it was all over, Lord Wellington, the victorious champion of Waterloo, and later British Prime Minister, said this. He remarked that despite the size and scope of the armies in conflict, the whole battle turned on one event: the shutting of the gates, the North Gate, in the face of the French soldiers, and the sliding of the bar into place. And he then said Corporal Graham was hands down the bravest man in the entire English army. And I tell you the story because, as you all know, you're supposed to be told on a day like graduation to go out and change the world when you graduate. To this I submit Corporal James Graham. He was a simple Irish soldier of very low rank. He had really no plan of changing the world. He just had loyalty to his king, the King of England, and he had the courage to back it up when the money was on the table.
Oh, I respect tanking.
At that point, with those 2 pieces in place, destiny took over. I also submit to you that this is God's plan for us. In fact, it is the Lord's very method for changing the world. For instance, Moses tried to change the world in his time by killing an Egyptian and leading the revolution, and he was run out of town on a rail.
No, don't show this to
Only
anybody.
when he became a humble desert shepherd, ready to be directed by God, does he actually confront and then break Egypt. Martin Luther was a tormented monk who really only wanted to save his own soul. The Lord moved him to oppose corruption in the church and begin the Reformation movement that would shake Christianity down to its roots. 2 Chronicles 16:9 says, "The eyes of the Lord range throughout the earth to strengthen those whose hearts are fully committed to Him." This is the secret for our people to change the world. Not that we don't have plans. Plans are good. But we do not rely on those plans to change the world. God changed the world when we make ourselves available to Him to use us as instruments of His providence. In 1815, James Graham fought an impossible fight against impossible odds to win a gate, that won a courtyard, that won a skirmish, that won a battle,
I don't really know
that
what
won
you're
a war, that won an empire, and that did turn the destiny of the world. Because the victory of Waterloo cemented Britain as the world power that would be required 100 years later to resist aggression in World War I and eventually hold the line against Hitler. So on your graduation day, my charge to you is this: to not go out and change the world, but to instead confirm your loyalty to your King, Jesus the Messiah, and nothing less. And to exhibit the faith and courage of a people who know that their destinies and that of the world are in God's infinite hands and not in our big plans.
Do I contradict myself? Very well, I contradict myself. I am large. I contain multitudes. Mike Reardon.